Would you like to live a more awesome life? Join hypnotist Jim Kellner as he explores tips, tricks, and strategies to help you and he live a more awesome life right now on Exploring Awesome.
Hello and welcome to Exploring Awesome. I am your host, hypnotist Jim Kellner. Hey, take a minute, please. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. Help me out. Let me know what kind of questions you have for my guest today. You can pop them in the comments there. I'm sorry we're getting started a little bit late today. Had some technical difficulties, and it was really a situation of wow. Okay, good. Of us, start and restart the Google. Hold on, to restart the Chrome browser. That's what it was. Yeah, I couldn't get access to my phone and my microphone, and sorry, still a little out of it. Okay, so anyway, we're gonna move right on. So today I'm really excited because today I have a guest on that's really important to me. I think he's just a really awesome guy. I met him through a Facebook group for entrepreneurs, and been sort of a mentor to him. And it's been just such a rewarding experience for me to watch him grow, both physically. He's several inches taller than when I first met him, and also professionally. And he's just doing marvelous things. He's one of the world's youngest entrepreneurs in real estate and FinTech. He's going to talk to us more about that, plus his tips for living a more awesome life. Everyone, please give it up for my guest, Nathan Phan. Nathan, he should be on with us right now. There he is. Hey, welcome, Nathan.
Welcome. Thank you for having me here. I'm such grateful to be here today.
The studio audience is going crazy with the cheering and everything. They've heard of you, Nathan. So, anyway, so hey, sorry about those delays we had. I'm just going to try to take a mindful moment, come back.
Namaste.
All right. No, yes, namaste. Stop calling me that. All right. Nathan, how's your day going today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
It's, it was going great until Chrome started messing with me, but we'll get through it.
We'll get through it, definitely.
That's the beauty, the fun and stress of live streaming. A lot easier if we just did this and cut all this stuff out and everything. But I really like the live streaming. It gives it a little something extra. So I do like to do that. I want to just remind everybody that this is Exploring Awesome, where I explore tips, tricks, and strategies to help you and me to live a more awesome life. I invite guests on to share their tips. First, we're going to find out about Nathan. Then we are going to answer listener and watcher questions, because you could be watching this on YouTube, or you could be listening over on Anchor. Maybe you're watching on Facebook. Let me know where you're watching. I like to find out where most people are watching. So if you're watching, wherever you're watching, drop that down below, whether you're doing it live today, or if you're watching it in the future. Let me know where you saw it at. We're also going to play Friend or Frenemy, of course, and then we'll get Nathan's 3 tips for living a more awesome life. I do want to apologize, Nathan. I know we did an interview several months back, and it got accidentally deleted. My hard drive got full, and it was one of the things that got deleted. So thanks for coming back on.
Of course. You're my best friend in a way, my life coach as well. So happy to help. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Nathan. Thank you for saying that. Really, it's been such a just a rewarding time watching your progress over the years. Can you give us like a short bio? Give us your hero's journey in about 3 to 5 minutes, if you can.
Yeah, so when I was younger, I was told by my parents that I never was a kid, and I was always the quote-unquote grown-up kid, apparently, meaning that they always said I would be the grown-up's kind of buddy in some sort of way, doing all sorts of different things. I remember when I was younger, working with my father on all sorts of different paperwork, helping him out and helping our teachers. All of my classmates would call me the teacher's pet because I would always be around them and help them out. Nevertheless, I always was intrigued by a few things. The first thing was being able to create something on my own. Um, Another thing was being able to be in something like architecture, interior design, and real estate in general. Specifically, to be generalized, to be very specific, would be probably be residential real estate. Would be something that I always liked. I always loved going around different houses and cities and neighborhoods and looking at all those beautiful, beautiful and not so beautiful houses and imagining what it would be like one day to possibly live in a house like that. I remember when I was, I would say, 5 years old, so about 12 years ago, I took out my old, my family's old camcorder and completely disassembled it and made it into a prototype smartwatch. So my idea back then was to create a smartwatch that allowed that was for kids, that allowed them to always be tracked by their parents. So the unfortunate thing about kidnappings and being a lost kid didn't happen. Those things really hit home because when I was younger, I was almost kidnapped. And Jim knows this story very, very well because I've
Right.
told him many, many times this story. We've laughed about it a
Sure.
bit, and it's all funny stories in the end. As well as I was always an adventurous kid, so always wandered off from my parents. I don't recommend that to any of the kids watching, but I'd always be very curious, so I would get lost very easily. I created that prototype, non-functional prototype. I wish I had a picture. I would have shown it if I had a picture or still had the model, but we threw it out a very long time ago. But fast forward about 2 years, I was around 7 or 8 years old. Went to when I was in the Bay Area, the science festival hosted by AT&T Park. And essentially, what they do is they are a convention for science and STEM, hosted and sponsored by Chevron as well at the AT&T Park. I don't know what they're called now, but essentially, I saw for the first time a Tesla Model S, the P100D, I believe. And it was the first electric car I ever saw, and I was obviously pretty intrigued by that. And didn't know what it was at the time, but one of my best friends was so excited seeing a Tesla and said, "Nathan, that's a Tesla." And it's an electric powered car, excuse me, created by none other than the famous, now richest person in the world, apparently, Elon Musk. And I wanted to create at that time something that rivaled Elon Musk, called a solar powered car. Obviously, when you're 7 to 8 years old, you can't create something like that. I remember going to all my teachers and all my friends, and them just thinking me being a crazy little kid and imagining whatnot. And obviously, the idea got scrapped. But ironically, 10 years later, when I went back to the science fair on a school field trip and extracurricular thing, I saw this solar powered car made by a bunch of college students and went to them and I told them, "You were the one who stole my idea, and now I want the company." We all laughed it off and we all talked a few hours. And to this day, we are still somewhat in contact. I have their contact information, but we haven't talked in years. But still, very, very nice memory to have. Something that I just realized, was reminded about by my family, was when I was younger, I would always, I don't know if people see this, but sometimes when you're in geographic magazines or whatever magazines, they have these little ads of these interiors of cars. I don't know, Jim, if you've ever seen those before.
No.
If you look in a magazine, sometimes they have advertisements and they advertise their new car. My mother would tell me that I would always ask the teacher, our old younger teachers, because they always had stacks of magazines, and I would always ask them for the cutout that page of the car and sit in front of that magazine and pretend to drive that car around for hours at a time. I didn't remember that, but apparently that's something that has happened before.
Okay.
It's very
Yeah.
interesting.
So I'm really curious, Nathan. What kind of, so you've come a long way since then. Where are you at today? What's going on in the past? I don't know. Recently.
Yes. So when 2019 hit, I moved to Pennsylvania. And when I moved to Pennsylvania, we started looking for a house, and I started helping friends, family, and as well as my parents to look for one of our new homes. That's when I really got a good deep dive into general residential real estate and totally loved it at the same time. Fast forward a few months, we bought the house and COVID struck. So I decided to go out and network and start some sort of consulting type business company firm, whatever you want to call it, and help first-time home buyers and sellers through the obviously tough and complicated process, try to make it a little bit simpler for those people. Obviously, helped a bunch of people. I would say 200 to 300 people easily. Got that, which led me to be written up in one of the most prestigious names in journalism, the Washington Mail. Unfortunately, 6 months after I was written up in that article or featured, the article crashed and got deleted. But fortunately, in the beginning of this year, they rewrote the article, which is, I believe, still up. I checked this morning and it was still up. So pretty excited about that one. After that, I decided to help work in startups, and we worked at Property First for a while, which now is in the process of being acquired by a angel investor.
Can you hold on for 1 second?
Yes.
Can you tell us what is Property First? Some of the listeners don't know any of that. Take a look at your private chat. Also, I have put a note in there for you. You might find it interesting. Look over in the private chat. That'd be really helpful. So. Okay. So can you tell us, so what is Property First? I know, of course, but other folks don't. Can you tell us what that is?
So Property First is essentially a real estate investing firm. So we allowed real estate investors to access what I like to call at the time confirmed leads, meaning that all the leads that go into our website or a marketplace are actually of owners that are willing to sell their property either off market or on market. The benefit of doing that, even though they do cost a little bit more, is the fact that the investor doesn't waste their time, as well as pay lead by lead, a small fee lead by lead to find those properties. And who knows if they're actually going to be a real lead, what I like to call a real lead, meaning that they will actually go through or will be for sale. So worked on that for a little bit, for a little over a year, had a bunch of up and downs. One of our co-founders, Jim knows very well. Unfortunately, he ended up creating a rival startup and left the group, but nevertheless tried to regroup and work with different investors and different co-founders. And Jim was one of our advisors, funny enough, and very luckily he was. And we are now in the process, Jim and I are in the process of giving over Property First to a pretty well-known newer angel investor for some money, which is very exciting and I'm very proud of. And, I never expected this to happen. I never really started this to really kind of get it acquired so fast. I never thought it would happen. But
that's exciting, right? Because so let me just take a quick break here. So you'd come up with this idea, and I remember there, when you were sharing the information from the beginning, and you actually got a website created, and then you sort of you saw some things in there that weren't really. You didn't think it was going to be really the thing that you wanted to work on, and so you shifted gears. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. But then somebody's come along and said, "Hey, that's a great idea. I want to buy you out."
Correct.
That is so cool. That's got to be it's got to be I don't know what you call it, but reaffirming that it was a good idea, right?
It was, I think. Yeah. Thankfully, another reason I would say is I took a bunch of different risks that I knew at the time that, looking back, I would definitely do it again. But if I just took the risk because I took it. But if, the average person might not want to take that risk, but taking those risks has allowed me to enter these new realms, which has allowed me to do things that I haven't ever dreamed of doing, especially getting acquired by a investor, which is very, very exciting at the same time as interesting. It might not be in the millions of dollars range, but it's still very exciting as a teenager, being able to exit of some sort. I remember Elon Musk exiting his first app at $500. and his mom having to create a bank account for him, or another pretty well-known person who created Nugs, the first vegan chicken nuggets, I believe. Currently 23 years old, I believe. I know him pretty well. His name is Ben Pasternak. Grew up in Australia, left his parents in Australia at the age of 16, so a little bit younger. He started a little bit younger than when I started, really. But created an app for fun in science class that ended up hitting the top charts, I think, over ranking musically at the time. I don't know what
So
happened.
Nathan, can I just jump in there a little bit? I just want to have a
Sure.
conversation with you instead of a monologue.
Of course.
And so I want to find out, because, I remember we talked, and there were times when you were really discouraged because it seemed like it was going to be a failure. And we kind of talked about, I guess, what were the things that you learned along the way that actually helped you? Because I'll tell you, I actually said something recently because I'm trying to build an app right now. And what I told some friends was I had to build an app to learn how to build an app,
Correct.
And so can you kind of talk to us about that? That was your Property First was probably your first major venture, right?
Correct.
So can you talk about the process of learning and failing, but that being, I guess it turned out okay in the end. So can you kind of talk about that journey?
Of course. So when I started in right after the pandemic started. So around June, I would say, of 2020, and came up with the idea. Very, very excited. Called up some friends, called up Jim, and kind of explained the idea. Everyone was very encouraging, which I think was also reaffirming at the same time, because it helped me kind of gain the extra confidence that at that time I didn't originally probably have to the full extent that I have now. But when I started, I just dove in with no knowledge and not knowing what was going on next. So I made plenty of mistakes, and I made plenty of things that I would probably not do again at the same time. But at the same time, those were all very, very good learning experiences. So that's why I like to take out of everything, is to at least learn something from it. And what I think is very good is to always do everything to the best of your ability. And if you failed, you failed because you tried so hard. So you'll have that extra regret. One thing I really like listening to is when I'm discouraged is what I like to call motivational talks. I think they're all called motivational talks. But I love listening to the likes of Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg and E.T. and E.T. I don't think anyone really knows, but a very good motivational speaker.
Can you pause for a minute and kind of what E.T. is that? Is that their name? What is that?
Yeah, I believe that's their name. E.T. I think it's E.T. Bigo, I think, or I don't remember their name on top of my head, but I think it's either a name or a stage name. But he went by E.T. He's an African American guy, very famous, very nice guy as well. Cool. I also like listening to Steve Harvey, even though he's most well known for Family Feud and Little Big Shots, I believe, the TV show for the little kids that are very extraordinary, even better, even more extraordinary and talented than I am.
I gotta say, I love Steve Harvey. I love the way he's made that transition. Well, he's still funny. He's still a comedian, and he's able to be like a motivational speaker. And I really love that transition he's made.
I love that too. Unfortunately, most of his talks are somewhat spiritual, so lots of people don't relate to it. But I found that a lot of his talks actually are true in some sort. Not the spiritual parts, but I think that in general, what he says is generally pretty true, I would say. Especially, I would say he's very credible because he's been through thick and thin, from a homeless guy with zero money, living in his car, to taking a first gig, and then eventually becoming a very successful comedian with hundreds of millions of dollars every year.
And I think what you said there was really important. I think a lot of times people, they hear something about the message they don't like. Maybe they're spiritual, or maybe there's some other belief that they don't believe or something, and they tend to throw it out, when really, you don't have to go with the spiritual part if that's not your thing. For some of you, maybe that is your thing, but he does offer a lot of really great wisdom there. I love his talk on you just got to jump.
Yes. There's one, I believe, the one that this apparently is a scripture, but I found is very, very true, especially in my life, because I've seen it happen over and over again. The one that I'm sorry if the scripture I say is wrong, but I believe you have not because you ask not, meaning that
Ah,
you don't have it because you haven't asked for it. But
mm,
the more I reflect on that, the more I see it's really true in life. I'm not saying that because I'm actually not even spiritual in any way, but I've seen that happen to me as a person, and to my close family and friends, a lot actually, where they would tell me something or I would tell them something, and in the end, it actually does happen, which is surprising at the same time as well as interesting at the same time. Anyways, another one he said was to always find your talent, and your talent is something that you do the best at while doing barely anything at all. It's the thing that you're the best at with little amount of effort. For example, KFC, the founder of KFC, for example, or other people like that who found one thing that they're very, very good at, and they just mastered it and became really successful.
right. You know, and it's so, and before we move on to your newest venture, which I believe you're selling also now, but we'll get to that part in a minute. But what were you saying about medical school?
So I'm actually also a medical student as well. Interestingly enough, I've
Smart
always
kid.
loved medicine as a young kid,
Yeah.
even though I liked entrepreneurship and real estate in general. But I really loved medicine. My father is also a physician, and I remember him telling me lately, telling me a story that he remembered when I was very, very young. I would always play with all of his medical tools and supplies, and he would always hide them, but I was always sneak in, found a way to play with them and mess with them and whatnot. But I also want to continue a legacy of my family who, unfortunately, my great aunt, who I never met, unfortunately, passed away from cancer. And one of the main reasons I, at this point, really want to specialize in radiology, especially interventional radiology, where we do lots of can be life-saving procedures. I've been blessed enough to work at different or intern and kind of experience and do extracurricular work at some of the biggest places in our area. One of the biggest urgent cares in our area, where we generally have lots of trauma patients sometimes, and sometimes we even have to call an ambulance to maybe two at a time to come and unfortunately bring them to a trauma care hospital or a more intensive care hospital at the same time. But at the same time, it's also very rewarding and one of the highlights of my week, being able to work in those places and go into those places where I get to do what I truly love at the same time as helping and empowering people through things. I might not be as knowledgeable as some people there, but being able to read X-rays, MRI scans, CT scans, PET scans, learn
Yeah.
things like that is very, very rewarding at the same time.
That's awesome. Awesome. So your fallback plan is being a physician, I guess.
As well, yeah. Lots of people
Well,
ask me, Nathan, you want to do this because you want to be wealthy? And honestly, I hate that question the most. It's like one of my biggest pet peeves. If someone says, I chose radiology for the money. Yes, radiology is one of the highest paid specialties. Yes. But to me, radiology is a field that really fits me as a person because it's also one of the most technologically advanced and one of the more open fields in medicine that are open to innovation and change. All of medicine is open to innovation and change, but radiology, I would say, is the most open. So that really fits me, but also being able to not scratch the surface, which essentially a primary care physician or a non-specialized physician really does. They just scratch the surface. But I really like going deep into something, figuring it out, but not only figuring it out in the deep, but also being able to see things that are not usually obvious, which X-rays are something that is obviously there because you can't see your own body, bones, skeletal system, tissue, and whatnot there.
that's cool, and it's tech too. So I mean, maybe you'll end up
Yes.
making some major discoveries in that area, or working your entrepreneurship skills there. I'm wondering, um, can you tell us about the newest project that again it sounds like you're actually going to let that one go as well. You're going to sell out, not sell out. You're going to let well, yeah, sell out, but not sell out. It's not you're possibly gonna sell your interest in that as well. Can you tell us about that program? I was really excited about it. I'm on your list, so whenever whoever takes it over, I hope they maintain your list so I can get a piece of that when it's
Yes.
available.
So exactly, as Jim said, I'm working on a new project called Pre-Stately. And Pre-Stately, the name actually also reminds me, is also a name that hits close to home because one of our good friends, who's the founder of Restately, is also a very successful entrepreneur and was one of the reasons I really was able to sell out property fairs in general at the first point. He gave me that confidence, and to kind of commemorate his memory to me, and as well as a fitting name in general, I thought Pre-Stately really made sense. Obviously, I've talked to him about it, the CEO of Pre-Stately. He's okay with the name. He's really he's really grateful and happy that I chose that name. He's really happy with me. He's happy at all of my achievements, which I don't think there are many, but who knows? People think different opinions, and I'm open to that. But essentially, Crestately is a app that allows people to directly own commercial real estate. I should kind of go deeper, meaning that allow non-accredited and accredited investors to invest in commercial real estate. So people can directly own commercial real estate for just $50. And the thing that's really nice about commercial real estate is that the commercial real estate is generally more expensive and harder to enter in, but they have better returns than residential real estate. Ironically, interestingly enough, the most successful real estate entrepreneurs and investors actually invest in commercial real estate by the likes of Donald Trump, which people might not all like, but nevertheless is very successful and talented by the standards that he really started upon. Or people like Manny Koshman, who went from selling peanuts door to door to being a multimillionaire owning Bugattis, Paganis, and the likes of those. Or Chris Krohn, I believe is his name, a really famous investor, also owns a private jet, and he also started in commercial real estate mostly. So I really want to let people be able to build their wealth and long-term future through commercial real estate. People might be asking me, oh, I should let you talk for a bit, actually. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's just I do have questions I want to ask and things I want to bring up. I know you get excited and you like to go for it. One of the things so for people that don't really kind of understand what that is, it's sort of like a Webull for, one of those, or Robinhood for, commercial real estate. So in other words, I maybe can't afford to buy a full share of Apple, but I can buy $50 worth on one of those apps. And the same thing would be true. Maybe I can't spend $500,000 on a commercial real estate property or $5 million, but I could buy a chunk of it and again get some revenue that way, and maybe some investment potential. Really exciting stuff. But you've decided that you really want to focus on the medicine and school right now, and you kind of want to let that one go too.
So to the extent, yes and no. So I was offered a package deal for a pretty good amount by one of my good investors, who's also one of my best mentors that I have. No offense to Mr. Jim here, who's also a really good mentor and is one of the main reasons I am here right now. Not only on this interview, but also being able to get acquired by my first startup, Property Fairs, which is so exciting. He made a pretty good package offer, but we are still in negotiations. I was just proposed this offer on Friday, so we still have a little bit of time to talk through things and kind of discuss terms and hopefully make a deal, which I would announce when obviously when it's made. I would probably announce it. But not only that, but Crestately is also something that I really think is very revolutionizing commercial real estate and commercial real estate investing and real estate investing in general, because residential real estate firms like Loft AI and whatnot are doing the exact same thing, but they're only allowing for residential real estate mostly. It's kind of a bummer that commercial real estate is not really allowed to general people like me, you and I, or less wealthy people in general. So hopefully I'm able to bridge that gap. But not only that, but we also don't like the fact of REITs, which don't let you pick and choose your investment, and as well as not letting you get some sort of say in the property. So with Chris Stately, we do get some sort of say. People do get some sort of say and some sort of direct ownership. So they do get rent revenue every single month, as well as they can vote on some most decisions that are made or proposed through our different investors, as well as our investors can eventually be on a leaderboard and have levels and different reward streaks, as well as we will also allow a social version coming up after we launch that allows people to see other people, what other people are investing in, as well as who else is investing in that property that they are possibly investing in. So pretty excited on that. But unfortunately, or I guess fortunately in some ways, our investor also wants to buy out that our app and our idea, but we are still in proposal and in negotiations, as I said, and we are working hard to negotiate a fair deal that allows me to still be able to have some say and allows him to also be able to get his fair share of the company as well, which we are also excited about. We are also excited that we just opened our wait list at the end of last month and are currently at 20, I believe 17 to 20 different people in about 2 weeks, which we haven't really done much advertising for, but have about a 20% conversion rate, which is very, very good. But we are also allowing the first 5,000 investors to get early access to the app. And we are also letting people who refer different people jump up on the wait list to get earlier access. So if you want to be one of the few people to get very early access and be able to test out the beta and whatnot and get some free shares, we will allow the first 5,000.
Give us the website. Give us the website.
Yes, it will be chrisstately.com. I don't know if we can put it in a chat or not, but
I'm going to put it in the chat. It's CRESTATELY.com.
Correct. chrisstately.com.
chrisstately.com. Right there. It's going into the chat. So just give it a click, everybody. Give it a click. And
it's free.
It's free. Go sign up. And again, it'll be like one of those things like a Webull, Robinhood, that kind of a thing. And you can get some early access, some referral bonuses and things like that. Exciting stuff. Nathan, it's been great hearing your journey. And I think one of the things that I'm really hearing there, and we kind of talked about this, was that, sometimes when you're creating something and you're an entrepreneur and you're creating these things, it can feel like a waste of time. But all those things that you learned, creating, Property First helped you then with Chris Stately. And then those things, if you ever decide to launch another product, another website, whatever, what you learned there, because I know that you were able to use that information that you learned on the first project, like in your website. You were able to maybe create a better website. You knew the language better. You know how to describe things better. So I think that it's important that if you're out there and you're having a failure, it's only feedback. And it doesn't mean that it was a waste of time. Sometimes we have to do these things just to learn.
Correct. And as Steve Jobs says, you're already pretty much naked when you start. So just jump in and keep going and have the faith that it will happen. A thing that I find very true, and we learned this in medicine, is that if you think that something's going to happen and you believe it's going to happen, it's going to happen, which is one of the main reasons why patients with anxiety that are diagnosed with anxiety and are given medications are told not to read such side effects, because sometimes people can read those side effects and believe them and get really scared, which eventually leads them to get said reactions and side effects. So we always believe that you can do it. If someone was to ask me if I was going to believe what I did, at first I didn't, but as more as I got into it, having that faith and having that belief is what led me to now being able to almost definitely sell one project, but possibly sell even two, which is even greater and even more amazing at the same time.
It's so cool. It's like it's like an artist selling their artwork. You created this art, and now you're selling it. Thank you for listening and watching, Kendall. Good to see you. She's a longtime listener, watcher. So, Nathan, it's that part of the show where we have to find out something very important. Everybody wants to know your thoughts on pineapple pizza. Don't answer yet. I need to get ready for the boo button just in case. Don't tell me yet. Nathan's one of these folks. I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna betray me or not. We're gonna find out. So everybody wants to know, Nathan. This is friend or frenemy for everyone who's watching, everyone who's listening. Friend or frenemy. Right now I'm at about 50-50 with my guests. Nathan, do you like pineapple on pizza?
Well, I don't know, to be honest. I've never had it, but I guess I would be opening to trying it. But to some of my friends who have tried it and love it, good for them. But to the people who also don't like it, good for them as well. I'll keep neutral until I try it for once.
Nathan, you've lived all these years and have never tried pineapple pizza.
Never tried pineapple pizza. I've actually never tried pepperoni pizza until a few years ago. And
oh my goodness.
I used to only like cheese. And the only way I ate pepperoni pizza was when we ran out of cheese pizza. And I was really hungry, so I had to eat pepperoni pizza. And obviously I love pepperoni. But now that I'm more into health and fitness, I try to refrain from all those carbohydrates and fats and trans fats and whatnot, et cetera.
Gotcha. So Nathan, we'll check in with him another time when he actually tries the pizza. We'll find out if he's my friend or my frenemy. So far, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a friend. Hey, if you're a friend and you want to try hypnosis, go to my website, jimkellnerhypnotist.com, and type in free-hypnosis. If you just go to the website, you'll see the tab. Get some free hypnosis. I will hypnotize you for free, virtually, downloadable recording. Nathan, it's been fabulous having you on. We got one more section here. We need to find out what we need to do, what we can do, what you recommend people would do to live a more awesome life. So please, Nathan, what are your 3 tips for living a more awesome life?
I would say the first thing is to always have faith. Not having faith can cause a lot of different things. Always believing in yourself and always believing that you can do it, and always believing others are there to not only support you and help you out during your toughest times is something that I think is something that needs to be done. When I was really struggling through stately in the beginnings, as well as especially during property fairs, having people like Jim and my investors and my family and friends supporting me and being my biggest allies are one of the most rewarding things, and is one of the main reasons I was able to power through. Another thing I think is also it's always overlooked, not because of its ability to help with the mental state, but it's always overlooked because people don't like it that much and sometimes give excuses to not do it. Is health, is being able to walk away and also do fitness as well. I think meditation, fitness, and walking away as a combo really helps. Meditation every morning helps clear out your mind, as well as times when you're going through some stress. I like meditation, really helps out, but also working out also clears your mind. I like sometimes going out to the gym once a day or a few times a day, maybe, if I have lots of time, and kind of pump some weights probably and go on some treadmills, run a lap or 2, run some laps, and swim some laps as well, and drink protein shakes, which I love. And protein shakes with coffee is one of the best things I love. I like to drink. Proffee, I think, is what people on TikTok like to call it. Not that I'm a big TikTok watcher, but another thing I would really recommend is also taking breaks when necessary. I think that goes with the last one, but also taking very, very necessary breaks and naps, and not being able and not being afraid to stop something just because it's not working out right now, and getting back to it later is something that's very, very important, I think, is to step back and take breaks as well.
Fantastic. We got some great stuff from Nathan. Nathan, is there anything that we have not discussed that you think we should before we sign off?
I don't think so. What do you think?
I think we got it.
I think we got as well.
I'm going to end the broadcast, but please, Nathan, stick around. We'll chat with you off the air for just a minute before you go. Hey, everybody, please catch this episode, other episodes, most Wednesdays at noon Pacific. Join me for Exploring Awesome, where I explore tips, tricks, and strategies to help you and me to live a more awesome life. Again, wherever you're watching, listening, please comment below what you took from this. What were the main things that the main points that you found helpful, especially those tips for living a more awesome life. And with that, we are going to be getting out of here. Almost right. Hold on. Boom. Nope, wrong one. Hold on. Just got to play the outro. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Take care.
Would you like to live a more awesome life? Join hypnotist Jim Kellner as he explores tips, tricks, and strategies to help you and he live a more awesome life right now on Exploring Awesome.